if you look at the data on education again, you will see that there is a close to 8 to 10% point delta difference between male literacy levels and female literacy levels. Dr. Ambedkar, after having presented the Constitution to the President, made a comment that no matter how amazing a constitution one writes, ultimately we are a three-legged stool. One leg is society, another leg is the economy, and the third leg is politics. And politically you can write a fantastic document, but without the other two legs, also equally strong, that three-legged stool won't stand, right? It'll be imbalanced, and we are still there. Right?
After 70 years, we are still there.
You specifically asked about education, right? So it is absolutely true. Even today, as girls are born, they are treated differently right from the day, in fact, even before they are born. As a doctor, there is feticide, there is infanticide.
Suppose we are a corrupt-free country compared to riddled with corruption. How big a role corruption is playing in all this? Because one of the statements, if I remember, Gandhiji made, corruption affects the poorest of the poor.
Yeah, corruption plays a very big role, but we mustn't confuse symptom with root cause.
So how do you fill this gap? What is an answer to make sure these kids who are in the rural area can come up to the urban? Because when you look at all other countries, so-called advanced countries, mid-level countries, one of the things they have achieved is majority of parity with education.
Yes.
So what is an answer to this?
So two, three things I want to say. Okay. So one is that.
Hello everyone. Today on our podcast, I am very privileged to have a proponent of women's rights, Tara Krishnaswamy, who is an independent policy consultant, who has also taken the cause of political Shakti. So we'll be discussing quite a few things on the agenda today. One of the reasons it is very appealing to me to discuss this remarkable subject is because all in our life we have come across situations where we find, whether when I was in US for 25 years or here, women are treated in a different category. Even in the United States, for a long time there was no independence for them to vote. And in many jobs today, same job being performed by a male person and women are always paid less. And women are always categorized for a long time. They should be nurses, they should be secretaries. And whenever there is a person who becomes a CEO of the organization, big headline, a woman becomes CEO of the organization. A woman has become, for example, Prime Minister of a country. But the reality check is different. Some people may argue way we treat women, even today's society, is a human rights abuse. We are not given them equal prominence. On books we have equal rights. Even today in Parliament we don't have 30% representation, where they are almost 50% of the population. Of course, Indian mythology is always about women. Mata antivi, Matru Shakti antivi, Taiye Devaru antivi, Tayi Bhumi antivi. Amele Shiva Shakti ge, Shiva half Ardhanarishwari antivi. Shiva without Shakti illa antivi, Sati. Because in today's talk, mythology, non-mythology, talk is there. But somehow they are not treated the equal way. In fact, they are the ones who should take an upper hand because they go through a lot of issues. They even deliver us. We are born from woman's womb. But why is it society has not given weaker sex, we call them? All of these nomenclatures we have used. And even today, the sad part is, as a doctor, I can tell you, when a child is born, even my daughter who is doing work in a hospital OB, she says when a child is born, even the woman, not only the father, the mother, says if it is a boy, oh, it's a boy. But if it is a girl, they don't show that happiness. even today. But we as a society, we may be changing. So Tara, what we would do today is, with this, I want to first hear a little bit about you. I know you were in US, you came back. What made you come and take up this noble cause of rights to women? And then we can discuss and agree, disagree on some issues, how we take it forward, and how we can make an impact on this society. In my view, you can first proceed on that. I will ask you some things about what I feel about women. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Ajaikumar. It's an absolute privilege to be here, and I really appreciate your invitation. And I've heard and read a lot about you, and also from Sita, who won't stop talking about you. So I'm truly thrilled. I have a great deal of respect and admiration for what you've done and what you continue to do. I think it's God's work. So all power to you, and wish you all the best. I was born and raised in Chennai. I did my engineering, computer engineering, like many people of my generation. And I went abroad to do my master's, again, like many people of my generation, in the US. And then I worked in the Bay Area, sort of trodden path in many ways. And after working there for a bit, I came back to India. I've been from a very young age, very particular about some things. One is gender rights. It has moved me a lot. My parents used to subscribe to the Hindu paper, and I would read it. And one of the earliest memories from when my school would require that we read the paper and come and talk about it at school during a certain period. And I remember reading things about sexual harassment and sexual assaults about girls and women. And then, because we'd have to do this week after week and present it at school, I'd noticed that new incidents would be reported. But as a child, I don't know what happened to the old cases, right? So that used to affect me a lot, that there's a lot of these women and girls going through this and there's no resolution, right? And then they would say, and then I would read a report of some case being heard in court around sexual assault that happened 10 years back, that happened 7 years back, 15 years back. So even as a young girl, I understood that there is this imbalance in society and injustice that is happening. And one of the other things that moved me a lot is children on the road. In those days, there were very many more children begging on the streets. You might also recall, right? That has definitely reduced. There's a visible reduction in poverty for sure, right? And so I was very particular, even while I was in school, that one must adopt a child.
Oh.
Yeah, I was very particular. So when it came time, when I was in the US and working, I knew that at some point I'd want to come back and adopt a child here, having seen so many children on the streets. And that's what motivated me to come back. And I did adopt a child. I have a biological daughter. And I adopted a son, just to have both children. And so that went on. And at some point, I've been working in tech. My last job was in Oracle. I was running their Asia Pacific partnering organization for a long time. Even as I was doing that, in 2010, because of some friends, I started to get interested in activism, in political mobilization, in clean politics, good governance, some of the things that we were talking about before we entered the recording. And so I started volunteering, and American companies are actually pretty encouraging. You might know this as well from having been in the US about political participation. Many of them declare their affiliations, right? Even the CEOs, anybody can declare that I'm a Democrat or a Republican, right? So it's a fairly, they appreciate the role of the citizen in democracy.
Even though it is changing now.
Even though it is changing now. So, I started participating in both citizen action towards gender, but also a lot of it towards urban and civic activism, towards sustainable mobility and things like that, but also around political campaigns for clean governance. And at some point, I did that for about 12 years and then decided to quit my job.
Okay, in India?
In India. In India, I did that for 12 years. After I moved back, I did that for about 12 years, sort of moonlighting, doing it as a voluntary thing, doing it in the evenings, doing it in the weekends, part-time. And then at some point, I quit my job in 2022, and then I've been at it full-time. But in the meanwhile, I'd already entered activism, political campaigns, urban and civic issues, even campaigns. I actually started this whole thing using campaigns for good governance. We can talk about it. Yeah, but then I quit my job in 2022 because I felt like India needs people like us who are educated and who've been blessed enough, privileged enough to do well enough in life that we can afford to give back to the country and give back to less fortunate citizens and move the governance forward, kicking and screaming, right? It's not moving forward otherwise. So that's the...
But the issue is, even people ask me, you are a doctor, you are an oncologist, why are you involved in this social issues? Because honestly, everything boils down to what is the right treatment you can give for a patient, really boils down to social issues.
True.
Their economic status, affordability, have they come up the ladder or not? So when you talk about a country where I think we cannot be advanced without great healthcare and education. And in this, I would like to address a few questions to you. I run a school in a place called Mullur, where we give a lot of importance to girls. Remarkable. But why is it, do you think across at least Karnataka, even India we can take, girls are given equal access to education at all levels, or even today it is lacking? And what may be the reasons behind it?
So you've asked a very broad question, and also a question on which several great minds have both pondered and acted. And as you know, we are where we are. Dr. Ambedkar, after having presented the Constitution to the President, made a comment that no matter how amazing a constitution one writes, ultimately we are a three-legged stool. One leg is society, another leg is the economy, and the third leg is politics. And politically you can write a fantastic document, but without the other two legs, also equally strong, the three-legged stool won't stand, right? It'll be imbalanced, and we are still there. Right?
After 70 years, we are still there.
After 70 years, we are still there. Well, you specifically asked about education, yes, right? So it is absolutely true, as you said even in your introduction, that even today as girls are born, they are treated differently right from the day, in fact even before they are born. As a doctor, there is feticide, there is infanticide. Sure. It is not zero in this country. It is not zero. It is not zero.
What about in the state of Karnataka?
Even in Karnataka, we don't have, the sex ratio at birth, yes, even today, even as per the last NFHS, we are still not at parity, not even in the top few states. We still have a ways to go.
Because a lot of people are under the impression it is only Punjab or Haryana, Uttar Pradesh where the issues are. You think it is across the country?
It is.
Possibly Kerala is more even. No?
Many states are getting better, including Karnataka. What I am saying is we are not there yet. And it is not a question of an opinion or an impression. The data, there's enough data, as you know, absolutely, that proves this to us. So it starts at birth, right? And the data shows that the sex ratio at birth is skewed. The under 5 mortality rate is gender skewed. The IMR is gender skewed. After that, the stunting and the malnutrition is gender skewed. After that, we have anemia and BMI, that kind of thing is also gender skewed.
We did a World Bank study. It's a very important point you bring up. In 2007 or so, I did camps in Gundalpet Taluk area, Chamarajnagar district, Mysore. We did interview 150,000 women.
Wow.
And did analysis on blood tests. 70% were below 10 hemoglobin.
Yeah.
And vaginitis because their
Yes.
pads issue and all,
Yes.
was 70%.
Yes.
And it was really shocking when we interviewed women about early health care. Like you were talking about how some of these schemes may help them, which we'll come to. They said, they said, where is healthcare for me? I work 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
I eat what is left over.
Yeah.
So this was the status under which we were there even 15, 18 years ago.
Yeah.
So where are we in that today?
Yeah.
Where are we in that? And maybe this is the time to talk about what you published recently, an impact evaluation of 5 guarantees. Particularly, you can talk about a few of them, and we can discuss about pros and cons of it.
Sure. So I want to complete the thought on education. So if you look at the data on education again, right, you will see that there is a close to 8 to 10% point delta difference between male literacy levels and female literacy levels. That varies by state. Definitely we are better off in Karnataka, we are way behind in places like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh.
But even in Karnataka, between north and south, I think there is...
Every district, the delta, in the so-called backward districts like the Yadgir, like the Raichur, like the Bidar, it is much higher, right? Those districts actually feature in the bottom 100 districts in the country, right? In the country, right? Bottom 50 districts in the country, those districts feature.
Very sad.
Very sad. That is why when people walk around saying Karnataka is a rich state, it's really poorly informed and it actually hurts the poor. Because the disparity between the haves and have-nots is very high. That really matters, right? And in some districts, of course, they're very well to do.
We have more billionaires than others, so that is why that...
That's right. I mean, we look at Bangalore. We look at Bangalore and draw a conclusion, and that is not correct. But to go back to education, while that delta exists, one must remember that literacy is measured, including the older, the senior citizens, the people in their 50s, 40s, 30s. And as we bridge the gap, you will see that if you look at literacy at secondary school levels and high school levels, the gap is much lower than the 10%. It is not zero, but it is much, much lower. It's almost equal, right? But it is true that girls start to drop out once they hit the adolescence, right? And that relates to the schemes as well, but that relates to something you mentioned, which is to do with access to toilets, access to nutrition, access to sanitary napkins, access to sanitation, right? All those kinds of things. So you will see that enrollments in education between girls and boys have narrowed to be almost equal. One battle is clearly won, sir, and that battle is that girls must go to school. So we are no longer trying to convince parents to even send girls to school, enroll girls in school.
We see it in our school.
We see it, right? But lasting in school, the retention, right? The enrollment ratio, as you get to high school, as you get to college, that is the challenge.
Now, one of the questions on education, going deep into it, when we meet people, there are a lot of NGOs, a lot of foundations, including, the Premji Foundation.
Yes.
They have attempted to do a lot in the education.
Yes.
In your view, has it made a significant impact? See, government, when it comes to it's one of my favorite discussions. When you come to the urban area, somebody gets a BCom, MCom degree, particularly a girl, woman. And same person, similar situation in Bangalore getting a degree, job opportunities for both are unequal.
Yes.
Now, the level standard of care in that area is supposed to be lower.
Yes.
Now, what is in your view, education in cities is mostly private education.
Yes.
Very few people go to government. People do go, but very few. But when we are not bringing this kind of education to the rural areas, is it really one of the players to make this disparity? And how do we address this issue to improve? Because government, the discussion with government is very simple. They will not let go.
Yes.
Controlling. Because one of the ministers told me, I have X thousand teachers, why would I let go? So what is the solution to this? Particularly focused on women education, higher education.
So you asked a couple of different things. One is, are NGOs making a difference? I think it's very, very difficult for NGOs to make a difference at scale. Nothing replaces state scale. Nothing. Not in terms of nutrition, not in terms of health, not in terms of education. If you have bad PHCs, bad CHCs, bad district hospitals, you cannot just substitute it with private hospitals. Correct. If you have state schools not offering quality schooling, you're not going to just replace it with private. Giving vouchers doesn't help.
You don't think it will help?
It will not. Like you yourself rightly pointed out, your own experience shows, money in the hand. Vouchers are tradable. It's the same as money.
No, suppose you say 50,000 rupees is the charge for a private school. I'll give you a voucher, you go there and join.
Yeah.
Is that not a good thing?
No, that will not work, because, as part of the study, we've asked women these very questions, right? To say, what if because the quality of rations is bad in the PDS shops. What if we gave you money or a voucher so you can go buy it in a private shop where the quality of rice is better, the quality of your dal or whatever you want to buy, oil is better, right? Or what about if we give you money instead of, let us say, a bus pass, or instead of free mobility? Or what about if we give you money instead of education? See, the minute you give a voucher, and a voucher is the same as money, it's tradable. People will buy and sell it. There will be an entire market around
this
vouchers.
Voucher will be only for school education.
Sir, it will get traded. There is a black market. Whether you say the voucher is for buying groceries, only can be used in certain shops, or you say a voucher is only for school education.
Forgetting the black market as an idea or concept.
Yeah.
Is that a good concept?
No, it is not. So what will happen is that they will always spend the money or the coupon that you give to them on the most important exigency of the day, which may be the fellow who has given me a loan is banging on my door, right, for me to pay the minimum interest amount. Or my child is sick and I need to get an IV because the child has diarrhea and that is going to cost me 1,500 rupees, right? Whatever it is, that is where it will go. You cannot replace state with private. In fact, that is part of the reason this basic income is increasing throughout India. This business of giving cash, whether it is Karnataka's Griha Lakshmi, whether it is Bihar's money, or it is the Ladli Behna Yojana in Madhya Pradesh or in West Bengal, close to 12 to 14 states are now giving cash, right? In some form or the other.
Bank to bank, they're transferred.
Bank to bank, direct transfer. In some cases, it's only for women, SC/ST women. In some cases, it is for women below poverty line. You know, whatever it may be, right? Your husband shouldn't be working in the government, or you shouldn't own land. They may have their own criteria. But the point is that part of the reason that is happening is because state is unable to fulfill what is called common good. That is where your question comes.
The problem is, let us take the common good. Does education come under common good?
Yeah. Why does education, public health and nutrition come under common good?
Let us take education.
Yeah.
We now agree the government schools are not majority.
Up to snuff.
Pardon?
They're not up to snuff.
Up to snuff. And we are also saying private enterprise will not penetrate because the economy is not there.
Not enough at least.
Not enough.
Yeah. Can supplement, it cannot replace.
So we are in a gap.
Yes.
Government is not doing the job.
Yes.
Private will not.
Yes.
So how do you fill this gap? What is an answer to make sure these kids who are in the rural area can come up to the urban? Because when you look at all other countries, so-called advanced countries, mid-level countries, one of the things they have achieved is majority of parity with education.
Yes.
So you are in US, you go to tier 2 cities, tier 3 city, education level is as good.
Same quality.
Same quality is there in public schools.
Correct.
But we don't have it.
Correct.
So what is an answer to this?
I don't know that there is a silver bullet. See, many times we want to take complex problems and we want a one-line answer to it. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen, sir. It's the same as saying...
No, the question is, should we try to privatize most of the government schools?
That's what I'm saying.
And hold them to accountability for them.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that there are answers. They're just not going to be as simple and simplistic as one might hope they are. No, it's like asking, how do I stay healthy in life? It is not one line to stay healthy in life. It is not just private hospitals to stay healthy in life.
We have to find answers, because there has been people, great philosophers, thinkers, who have said what should be the role of the government. See, I am I'm somewhat of a follower of a couple of them. Henry David Thoreau said, government is the best which counts the least.
Yes.
Emerson said that.
Yes.
Henry David Thoreau said, government is the best which doesn't govern at all.
Yes. Small
so
government.
Obviously, we have to govern.
Yes.
Should government, particularly in health and education, become a monitoring agency and say, hey, this kid who is coming from lower socioeconomic group should do this as good, average kid. And extraordinary kids come out.
Yes.
There's no issue. Anyway, they come out. I'm talking about average kids who struggle and they don't have that privilege to have that great education. I want you to provide same. I'm going to pay you for it. I'm going to monitor you.
Yes.
The mistake, I think, what we are doing is, I want to be doing it and I also want to monitor. And this is an issue. How do we address this issue? I tell some of the bureaucrats, today you are an education secretary. I ask you, where were you yesterday? I was a metro secretary.
Yes. They don't have domain knowledge.
They don't have any technocratic knowledge.
Yeah.
When we are dealing with such people, definitely the system will not improve.
So, couple of 2-3 things I want to say. Okay. So, one is that, like you rightly pointed out, even some institutions as venerable and as large as the Azim Premji Foundation that have been intervening in public schools for a long time have been able to make some difference, but have not been able to bridge the gap. Right?
They have not.
So, here is a data point
and for the
of
amount
an entity.
Of money they have spent, they have not done it.
Here's an example of a very well-intentioned, capable entity who is throwing money at the problem. And what does this teach us? Not that they haven't thrown money or that they don't have capacity. It is that doing things at state scale by a non-state actor is very, very difficult or impossible. And that is the same reason why just saying I will privatize all transport, privatize all road construction, privatize all schools, privatize all hospitals is not a substitute, it is a complement. Second thing is, private, as it should be, will seek profit.
Yes.
Then there is a space for the market, and the market will seek profit as they should, whether it is a private hospital, whether it is a private school. So if I'm running a bus service if I'm a private operator running a bus service, why would I run it to the slum where people can't pay? I would run it to the fanciest neighborhoods in, Sadashiv Nagar or JP Nagar. I would prioritize that, number one, right? Whether it is a school, whether it is a hospital, that is the case. Your high-end hospitals are, there are very few that are willing to discount this or subsidize it. That is the second thing. The third thing goes to the most important question, which is, are these things common good? Should state even do it or not do it, given they are doing it badly? And I will come to that. When we had COVID, okay, the whole world, even the most capitalist countries, subsidized the vaccine or made the vaccine free for everybody. And you as a doctor very well know why. Yeah. Because if one of us gets it, the rest of us is in danger. That is the reason public health is common good, because even if the population in lower income families, even if the population in slums, in poor villages, in backward districts, if they fall ill, diarrhea will spread. Meningitis will spread. These are things that spread, and there is a public health issue, right? So health is a common good. That is why you have public hospitals, even though they are terrible in quality in many places. Similarly, if the average quality of education and quantity of education is not sufficient in society, society as a whole cannot progress. You cannot progress if your driver doesn't have the minimum education to be able to read the road signs and navigate the traffic. So public education is public good. Education is public good, common good. Similarly, nutrition. Obviously, if we are malnourished, our labor force will not be able to.
Couple of thoughts I have on this. Let us take two areas, because that is why I am a believer in pilot projects. Even though it was started like let me try, I have learned a lot. For example, let's take the school I have done in Mullur. It was at that time a remote area on the way to HT Kote outside. I was doing a camp. The Patel came and said, sir, what is this camp and all? We want education for our kids. There was a government school and all. I said, okay. Started as my NGO activity, and initially it was loss for first few years. Then I started cross subsidy, that people who could pay would pay, others would do scholarship for free. Now I had run it for nearly 25 years, up to high school, 10th standard.
Wonderful.
What I have learnt out of that is in a remote area, the local government school all got closed, and then there's some other schools there and all. Now there are some private schools have come. But brilliant students, brilliant, enormously intelligent, particularly girls. I've rented seeing them, how they debate. In all the school functions, women have to talk, girls have to talk. They are the moderators, they are the ones.
Lovely.
I have learned so much from it. It is really mind-boggling. Their artistic capabilities, their understanding capabilities are phenomenal. I then think, I did one school and experimented. Imagine thousands of schools where this opportunity is not, in a rural area. So what I am telling is, it is possible. You can run it as break even or profit or some profit if you can penetrate this. Second example is our hospital in Mysore, non-profit cancer hospital. People thought it's cancer, expensive. You won't believe, Tara, for the last, since 1990 I run it as a non-profit. It is actually, we do schemes, we do everything, people who can pay, we make profits.
Wonderful.
I plow it back.
Wonderful.
What does this tell us? See, I believe it tells us, if you really penetrate this market with a vision to improve the quality, whether it is cancer care or education, you can somehow bridge the gap. But the impediment here is the government. The government power play. They don't want you to do that. Because one panchayat said, can I take over primary health care? No way. We control, the panchayat controls it. See, it's a control. And nobody wants to give up power. Like I was telling you, a person who is IAS officer told me, and one very big politician, look at the people standing, doctor, in front of me, 10 people in this room, 20 in that other room, 50 outside. You don't think I like this? I will give up? So what kind of a movement we have to do? Let us come to the actual action plan. How do you do bottoms up movement to make this change? Because local bodies control locally, local bodies control education, local bodies, can they hold the parent teachers conference, can they hold the teachers responsible rather than the minister or secretary telling what to do? Can we develop the system as a pilot project in one area and we can make it a training so others can come? Is it possible?
So you actually nailed it. The way to solve the problem is to decentralize.
Yes.
We have panchayat level, local body level elections. We have panchayats and local board, whether that's a Jilla level, at a Taluka level, or
and that too, they don't hold it on times.
So they are supposed to own the education and the public health at that level, and they are supposed to be devolved the funds and given the proper functionaries in order to execute this. If this is done perfectly,
correct.
If you hold the elections on time, if you conduct the elections on time, if the panchayat and the talukas have the ownership properly as per the constitutional mandate of public education, public health, and even local mobility, local tanks, there are 18 functions devolved to the local bodies. No state devolves all 18, right? They may devolve 10, they may devolve 5, they may devolve 8, they don't devolve all the 18, they hold the powers. No state passes on the funds, requisite amount of funds for them to actually execute on it. And you have tremendous number of vacancies, which is why you say functionaries are not available either.
Correct.
The way to solve the problem is to decentralize. And that is the example that you gave in the US, that even small towns have a reasonable quality of education.
Correct.
That is because the local school board is composed of elected from parents, elected from the local citizens.
Correct.
The school board that runs the school is an elected school board from the local community. Obviously, this is where the common good comes in. As a community, I want common good in my area. Right? I want my area to be well educated. I want it to be clean. I want it to be disease free.
Correct.
So it is in my interest to make
Ownership.
sure that the ownership. I care about my surroundings, my area.
Correct.
So if you actually decentralize and you give the ownership to the panchayat and the funds to the panchayat, it is in their interest, because those villagers being educated helps the panchayat, they will vote for them.
Correct.
Now it is so far removed. What is the connection between me and a minister sitting at in the union in Delhi?
Correct.
It's a Delhi minister. And then you're sitting here in some village in
local MLA also is
Chamarajanagar.
controlling.
Whereas local MLA is again several levels removed. I vote for my panchayat, my gram panchayat, my taluk panchayat, my district, jilla level, and then only comes the MLA. And I know that fellow is not going to come and see me more than once or twice a year when they want the vote. Whereas if it is my panchayat and they are making a mistake, I can walk any day and hold him by the collar and say...
So we have to bring efficiency in panchayat.
We have to bring proper devolution into panchayats, proper decentralization. That is the revolution that is necessary. Governance is bottom up.
That can be done? Of course, we are looking at electing women at that level, training them, doing all that. But when you look at the government books, panchayat, phenomenal write-ups are there.
Yes.
They say this is how we should be trained. All of them are written down, but none of it is properly obviously followed, executed.
Yeah.
And how big a role in this situation? Suppose we are a corrupt-free country compared to riddled with corruption. How big a role corruption is playing in all this? Because one of the statements, if I remember, Gandhiji made, corruption affects the poorest of the poor.
Yeah.
So if we buy into this, how big a role is corruption playing in this?
Corruption plays a very big role, but we mustn't confuse symptom with root cause, right? As a doctor, you know this way better than any of us, right? Symptoms and root causes. It is the symptom that irritates us the most, gets in the way of our daily lives, right? If I have a rash, right? It is going to bother me. I can't do anything. I can't get my mind off it. That is going to add to stress. That itself is going to cause problems, right? But the root cause of the rash is something else. The rash is not the problem, right? Rash is only manifestation of the problem. Corruption is a symptom. It is not the problem. Corruption comes due to lack of proper institutional setup, meaning the government institutions aren't set up properly, lack of proper checks and accountability, checks and balances. And every democracy goes through corruption. If you look at in England or the United States 100 years back, they were extremely corrupt societies, right? They would trump India any day, right? But over a period of time,
but we have 70 years later, still we are. 70
years is a baby democracy. We are talking about 200 years into the United States democracy. It was still highly corrupt. So it's still corrupt, far less corrupt. So over time, corruption will decrease as standard of living, as education, as jobs, employable. Today, you don't have access to something.
So you are more hopeful about corruption.
It's not hopeful. I'm just looking at history.
You are looking at it. But what I find is in the last 20 years I've been here struggling with the hospital, how to do and all. I find the corruption index is worse.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So think about this, sir.
It is reaching a peak, you think?
Yes, it is definitely reaching a peak, but think about this. In the corporation, in what was called BBMP, today it's called GBA, it doesn't matter, it's the same thing. They have 50% less staff than allocated on paper. If wherever I'm supposed to have 10 people, there are only 5 people on the rolls. Other 5 are vacancies. This is true for every city, every panchayat. I was just in Kalaburgi for 2 days. Same story, one of the most backward districts. Exact same story. They're functioning at 50% less staff.
I was told part of the reason is the central government allocation comes to state to the corporation level decreases rapidly. So what they allocate is very low. And that was recent fight in Bangalore and all. How are we going to build roads?
So there are a couple of reasons for that. One is that we are not getting enough back from the union government compared to our contribution. We are getting very, very, very little.
Correct.
This is why I say when we pretend that Karnataka is a rich state or we are ignoring the fact that Karnataka is not Bangalore. Yes, there are rich districts like Dakshin Kannada or Bengaluru itself, right? But most districts are not that.
Correct.
And in fact, there are some districts that are in the backwardmost in the country. So imagine functioning at half capacity. Now let us say you're working for such a corporation or you're working for such a panchayat, and let us say our job is to go collect the trash in the locality and there is only half of us functioning. We have to go out every day. Remember, Paura Karmikas get only half day off in a week. In a week, they get a half day off. Okay. Yeah. So imagine there is only half of us and we have to collect the trash for the city that is growing every day. Now population is increasing in India and you have to collect the trash. And you are underpaid and your arrears haven't come, how will you function? Will you be corrupt or not?
Correct.
So I think, so we need to go back, as I said, our institutional mechanisms and our checks and balances, accountability, both need to be simultaneously fixed. I'm not saying just hope.
Talking about correction, one of the women meetings I have in Gundalpet, she came and told me, you know what is the problem we face. I said, as a group we can go, we can try to get work done, whatever you need to do, like road repairs or drainage system, water, because one of the things we found was during the last election, some of them said out of 7 days, only 3 days they get water. Yeah. All of that issues are there. They said, you know what the difficulty is, she said. What? I don't know how far it is true, but I heard it from the horse's mouth. I have to either bribe if I go for something, or they ask for sexual favors. Shocking.
Yeah.
At government level,
yes.
Those who are officials, they're working
yes.
at taluka level.
Yes.
So these are all something hidden issues we don't understand at our level. At ground zero level,
I would say men don't understand, the women know it.
Yeah. But it is appalling that these things happen, and that is part of the reason we are not seeing. And another thing is, what is shocking to me, we'll come to your impact thing, but before I come to the shocking thing is, with all the things for nearly 1,500 women, I asked to raise hands. A lot of them, because they may not even raise, I thought. What was thing is, Sita Lakshmi was there, Rahul was there, 70% raised their hands saying that they all have taken loans paying 4%.
Yes.
At interest per month.
Yes.
So then I took a class for small groups. What that mean? They don't even understand the impact of 4%. They think 4% means low, 4% a month.
Yes.
So it is huge money
compounding,
going on.
they don't understand.
They don't understand. And then when they can't pay, it keeps compounding on.
Yes.
So they become... See, these are some of the issues which has not been addressed by any of the system.
So you brought up the schemes, right? Having done the impact evaluation, one of the recommendations we've made, and the government has started on the action. The recommendation we made is financial and digital literacy, basic financial and digital literacy for women. So what is happening is, they get the Graha Lakshmi monthly 2,000 rupees. The women from the low income families, BPL families, right, those who are not IT payers, etc., they are eligible for it. If they have applied, they get it. And it comes direct DBT into their bank account. But due to lack of digital literacy, for example, even though there is Shakti available, that is the free mobility available, they don't know how to operate an ATM.
Okay.
They don't know how to operate an ATM. So the way they get that money is that a group of them will go together by bus on a given day, either to the post office or to the bank branch directly, because adaralli Kannada matadtare. So they can get help, right? How to fill the cash withdrawal form, etc. And that's how they withdraw the money. So they don't have digital literacy. They also don't, most of them don't have access to a smartphone. Even when they do, it's their husband's phone.
Correct.
So when the SMS comes, and the bank will send the SMS in English, they're not even able to read it, right?
These are all practical problems.
These are practical problems. So digital literacy, similarly financial literacy, right? What does it mean? What does that form mean? One of the most interesting pieces of data is this, okay? When you have to apply for schemes like this in any state, this is not particular to Karnataka,
okay,
you have to go to either the Seva Sindhu portal, most states have a portal, or you have to go to the Bangalore one, Karnataka one, Grama one, Atara one, you have to go to one of those locations. Women don't go alone. They are not comfortable filling forms. Traditionally in India, our culture is that the man will fill the form. So they will have to be accompanied by some male escort in order to even fill the form and apply for the thing. Except, so every form, whether it is bank account, whether it is for these schemes, whether it is for their children's education, it is the man who is either accompanying them or he is filling it himself.
In our microcredit.
Except voter registration.
Yeah.
Women go directly and register themselves. Women are voting in higher and higher numbers. In fact, the female electorate has exceeded the male electorate in 14 states, and women's voting percentage is exceeding the male voting percentage in so many states.
Now tell me about this impact you've done, and then where do you see the future for women in India? Let's say in the next 5 years. Is there going to be better rights? Your parliament, Shakti, whatever it is, you think it will come? And is it going to have a definite impact? Is it going to revolutionize the way we look at women and their power, women empowerment and power?
The future is female. Okay, so women are going to be rising. You can't stop it because it's human instinct. Human beings are naturally capable, and
after 200 years, America doesn't have a woman president yet.
They don't have a woman president, but the percentage of senators, the percentage of congresswomen has dramatically increased. Remember, sir, especially as a doctor, you would attest to this. It is not important that there is that one person who is in perfect health. It is not important. If every family had one person in perfect health and everybody else was not healthy, that is not the sign of a healthy family.
You think the movement has begun?
Yeah, you want lots of women MLAs. You want lots of women MPs. Okay. Right? In 2023, after many women and women's organizations had fought tooth and nail for many decades, the government passed the Women's Reservation Bill. So we now have 33% reservation.
But is it passed in both houses?
It is passed in both the houses. After many decades of women's organizations fighting, generations, the Women's Reservation Bill finally got passed at the end of 2023, just before the 2024 elections. Elections are very useful for women. Elections are very useful for women, right? So, but there was a caveat in that bill. Instead of beginning it immediately, they said the new census will have to finish, then the new delimitation will have to finish. At the end of the new delimitation, we will have reservations in place. So now the census has begun. It will end in 2027, then delimitation will happen. Then the women's seats will be allotted. Then subsequent elections, you will have women in office. Now that is only a beginning. The reason I brought in the US comparison is to say the sign, right, the signal that things are improving is not when you get one prime minister or president. We already had that. Right, in the 60s we got that. That doesn't mean the fate of all the women changed. What you want is more and more girls entering school, more and more women entering college, more and more women entering the workforce, more and more women entering assembly and parliament. Right? So that needs to happen as a grassroots change. So I say the future is female. I see that there are clear signs. It is not moving fast enough. It is very frustrating. But I'll tell you why there are clear signs. Female literacy is increasing. Women enrolled in schools and colleges percentage ratio is increasing. Gender ratio is bad, but it is still improved compared to 50 years ago, 30 years ago. Number of women in the workforce is low, but it is increasing. More women are graduating college, and more women have entered the Panchayat, Taluk, Zilla Panchayat due to reservations. Same will start to happen here because of reservations. What is pulling us back is the patriarchal culture that is very deeply entrenched in society, and patriarchy is not gendered. That means women can also be patriarchal. It benefits the man, but women are also patriarchal. They are socialized into patriarchy.
Yes, correct. So good point. Very good.
So that is where schemes like this, they won't fix patriarchy, but they will try to combat, or they will try to provide a complement to lessen the effects of patriarchy. For example, you talked about girls not having access to sanitary napkins. Some women wear the same sanitary napkin for 10 hours, 20 hours, use the same thing another day. They will say it is not fully used. These things will give you tremendous infections. And then you have to go to your husband every day and justify, can I buy 2 pads? Can I buy 1 pad?
No, I understand. So, in your view, the 5 guarantees, I have some issues with certain things. We can discuss that.
Sure.
I agree with you, the bus, the free transportation to women is a great thing for women to really travel. I think they are doing it for senior citizens also. if they really do that, it's good for the society. And I feel any society today, the free transportation
Free
is a
mobility.
must.
Absolutely. It
Hopefully
boosts the
one day it
economy
will
actually.
become for all.
Yeah.
Okay, but they have to provide necessary transportation. But this, the money they give,
Griha Lakshmi.
Gruha Lakshmi, I believe interviewing people and the rural women where I work in Gundalpet, I asked them the question, do you want this 2000 rupees or do you want government to give you better jobs, skill training? Almost all of them said second, I want better training. But still they take the money. And I asked them one more thing. You know, Sita Lakshmi Rahul were there. How many of you have taken election type bribe? Up to 2003, almost 70% raised their hands. So it's clearly short term they look at. This is short term. 2,000 rupees I get, 3,000 for a vote. They don't understand the value of vote. That is one thing we are trying to teach. Value of vote. It is not 2,000 rupees, 3,000. So while we are doing that, even this 2,000 in my view, I think it is a trade. It may have helped certain things for future growth of employment, skilled opportunity. See, government cannot abdicate what they are supposed to do. What
Absolutely.
is happening today is by giving 2,000, they say, hey, it is my vote bank, I don't have to do everything. They cannot establish skill training, schools, other things. But demand has come from people and say, my view is, I don't want this 2,000, I want better jobs. 2,000 should be instead 20,000 I should earn. So what is your view on that?
I think we are comparing apples and oranges. That is my view on that. If you go and ask somebody, do you want your child to be cured or do you want an ice cream? They will say, I want my child to be cured. Any either or can be framed in such a way that you get the answer you want. As you rightly pointed out, these two are non-negotiable. Now, let us say that we don't give the 2,000. Let's do a hypothetical, right? A counter argument. Let's say the 2,000 is not given. Some 3 years ago, that is how it was. Then also we didn't have proper skill training and jobs or anything. That is number one. Number two, even if you set up proper skill training institutes and you start to bring in industry across the backward districts and jobs, you still have the situation where young girls don't have access to sanitary pads. Women don't have access to proper health. Men don't have access to proper health. We have the lower income, lower middle income segment of the population. This is the very reason you set up subsidized cancer care. This is the very fundamental reason. Regardless of government, regardless of jobs and employment, there are going to be a base of, even in the United States, even in Europe, you have a population, the bottom 20%, that is unable to access sufficient health care. Do we want to build a society where we say, too bad? We don't. So the 2,000 you give is incomparable to the 20,000. The 20,000 is a must, like you rightly point out. The jobs, the skill, the education is must. This 2,000 is so that in the worst case scenario, if the husband loses a job, the wife doesn't have a job, or the child is admitted in hospital, you still have some access to basic nutrition, you still have some access to basic health care. That is all it is.
What you are talking about is at a unit level.
Yes.
At a unit ground zero level.
Yes.
You are right, the 2,000 is needed.
Yes.
But at a higher level,
Yes.
the person or the entity who is giving you 2,000,
Yes.
what is the reason they are giving? I think, are they saying this is a substitute for me not to really work hard to improve your livelihood skills? So how do we send the message? So my radical thought is, which I have discussed with our women, majority at least are raising hands for that, is let us have a gathering of thousands of people, go and say we don't want this 2,000. Return, I want better jobs. I think some kind of like Quit India movement, civil disobedience movement, all of that was through this action. Because now we are like, okay, we expect your 2,000, it's good, it's doing good for me, I will live like this. It is no action. But we have to, every action should have a reaction. So when we act, they have to react. Man, these people are not going to vote for me now. So I have to come up with a better solution. That is what I am hoping. we
I'm very happy to hear that you're thinking of campaigns. I'm an inveterate campaigner. I love ground action.
We'll have to get you over.
Yes, I've spent more than a decade doing nothing but campaigns, all the way up to I think 2023, 2022. So both for women's representation and for civic issues, right? So sustainable urbanism, mobility and so forth. Getting on the ground, mobilizing people, going to your local corporator, going to your local MLA, MP, going nationwide to all MPs, depending on whether it is union-related activity or state-related activity. That is a citizen's right, it is a citizen's privilege, and we must do it. Citizens collectivizing, mobilizing, demanding a better quality of life is absolutely essential, and all power to you. You do it, I'll come. But I want to caution that, again, I say, it is not either or. It is not about saying that I don't want this, I want that. When we say people take bribes during elections, I want to clarify something, okay? Do you know how many rich people, I mean people without a BPL card, do you know what percentage of rich people use the subsidized government provided gas cylinder?
Absolutely.
Everybody uses it. Most people use it, right? A lot of people use it.
I have to give you an incident. It happened in Mysore hospital. They come with BPL cards.
No, you're talking about corruption. I'm talking about even without BPL card, the government subsidized gas cylinder, you can afford to pay for private gas. The government is subsidizing it for the poor. But almost every middle class, upper middle class family will use a government subsidized gas cylinder. Your Indian gas. Nothing, you get your ration, because long ago you had your name in the ration card. No, you don't. How many people who are not BPL have a ration card and use the ration card, right? They may not buy anything. They will give it to somebody.
System abuse.
This is who is abusing? The government is not abusing. This is not the politicians abusing. This is not vote bank. They can't do anything. I'll tell you why. Again, go back to 50%. You have staff. You have 50%. Let's remind ourselves that if you had 50% doctors in a hospital, you cannot run that hospital.
You bring up a good point.
Yeah.
See,
wait. So when the society is corrupt, when you and I are corrupt, we are abusing what is meant for the poor. Somebody told me, Madam, Grahajyoti 200 units electricity free ag baratalva. They have not said that you have to have BPL card, so I am also getting it. All the rich people are getting it. Okay, you have to think. If everything the government should come and enforce, how many things will they enforce? They have to enforce that you are not putting garbage on the road. They have to enforce that you are not abusing gas cylinder. They have to enforce that you are not cutting the street light. How many things will anybody enforce?
Yes, you are absolutely right. I had an incident where I used to videograph in Mysore patients coming with BPL cards. One day a BPL patient came. He came in a big Volvo car. The patient brought his mother.
Wow.
So in the Volvo car we documented it.
Wow.
And we showed, and we stopped him on the way, our team. And why are you bringing a prepaid car? You are coming with this car. He said, my mother is BPL.
You pay.
Then we went to his house where a mother lives with him, took a picture of his house, big bungalow. Then sent it to the government. Then I had the BPL scrapped. Within 1 week,
he got another BPL card. So I want to ask you something. Where are the politicians coming from? From Moon or Mars or Venus? No, they are coming from our society. Where are the policemen coming from? You and I, our families, people become policemen, people become politicians, people become bureaucrats.
Only scums become politicians.
No, the point is that everything is a reflection of society. You see, you cannot solve corruption in government without solving corruption in society.
You get what you vote for.
You get who you are. We are that. If we abuse the gas cylinder, if we abuse BPL cards, if we abuse Aadhaar, if we want to cut in line and get a driver's license.
Majority of the people are honest.
Majority of the people are honest.
They are the ones who are getting affected the most because of this abuse. So I think, to summarize, I think you have brought up a lot of good points, particularly your 5 guarantees is an eye-opener. Whatever we had assumed, we have to also rethink on that, take a step back.
No, but I do want to make a point, sir. I think the government, not just Karnataka government, not just this government, regardless of political party, whether it is Karnataka or the rest of India, governments have abdicated their job with respect to education, with respect to healthcare, with respect to producing employment and employable citizens. There is no doubt about it. The point is that before 5 guarantees also it was like that. 5 guarantees is only there for 2.5 years now. After 5 guarantees also it is like that.
The only issue is now the other people are saying how far it is true, we don't know.
I know, but as people of science, we both know before the incident also a symptom was there, after incident was symptom.
Because we are giving this 2,000 rupees, we don't have the budget for doing other work.
It's all excuse, sir. Before that, what was the excuse? Schools were so great, hospitals were so great.
It's a very sad situation.
It is just.
But I think you are doing a wonderful job. And I think similar women empowerment, women Shakti spirit, parliament, all of that, we should take it as a policy.
Yeah.
And I want to see a policy institute which we're starting. And I think together, with people like you is what we need. Sita Lakshmi, Rahul, Aditya are all there. I think we have to take it further.
Definitely.
Good people like this have to come together.
Definitely.
Otherwise, I think it will be a drop in the ocean.
Yeah, I think you're doing great work in Malur and Gundulpet and places like that. So, hats off to you.
No, hats off to you, I should say.
No,
really, it's
you're an
wonderful what you
inspiration.
have done coming back from US and all. We look forward to more interactions with you and
Likewise.
really thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
It's great.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate your time.
Thanks.